So one of the problems now that we have with our system is that if we go to do python tree manage.py run server and then specify my Cloud9 IP and port to run on, we get an error because the only database configuration that we have set up is to read the database URL environment variable. We don't actually have a database underscore URL environment variable set up on Cloud9. It's just for Heroku. So what we need to do then is we need to put in place, we need to set an environment variable that will work on both systems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if os.environ.get, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have say development. And if this is the case, we're going to create a variable called development and we're going to set it equal to true. This will tell us that we're in a kind of a dev environment. So if the development environment exists, then we don't want to say use production settings like the database URL that's specific to Heroku. Another thing is we want, when we're in on Heroku, we want to set our debug to false. So if there is an environment variable called development, then we're going to create a variable called development and set it equal to true. Otherwise, we're going to set our development variable equal to false. So down here then, when we're setting our debug equal to true, I'm going to say if development. So if development is true, or if there is an environment variable called development, then we're going to set debug equal to that value. Actually, instead what we can do is we can just go ahead and we can set debug equal to the development variable, because if we are in development mode, then it's going to be true, which means that we want debug mode on. And if we're not in development mode, then we want to turn debug mode off so our users don't see our errors. The other thing we want to do is we want to use SQLite tree if we're in development, and we want to use we want to read our variable from database URL if we're not in development. So I'm going to uncomment this code, this database configuration that I commented earlier, and then I'm going to put that inside the if block. So if we're in development, then we're going to use SQL. Otherwise, we're going to use DJ database parse to read our database URL. So, okay, I still got the same error here because I haven't created my environment variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export, and the export command will tell the system to set this command. So it's export development, and we'll just set that equal to 1. And if I go ahead and run this now, then the system runs correctly. And I can view this in the browser as well. So if I click on the Cloud9 link, then we see that we are now connected to our SQLite database, which has different data from the to-do list on our Postgres database, which we'll look at later.